Should companies with cases of violence help the victims that go through this?
I really like this topic and I'm motivated about it because I think this issue happens a lot to women, especially. And also because I would like to see what companies do according to this problem. Apart from that, I would like to find some solutions for those people that have been in this situation. I'm in business, and this has to do with my pop, since talking about how business take care of this issue of violence is important to take in consideration when I'm learning about how companies work and how they are affected by it. And evidence is, according to the Denton County Friends and Family 2017, as many as 75% of violence victims face harassment from intimate partners while they are at work. This impacts the victims personally and the safety of coworkers and has an economic impact on the business itself.
At home, perpetrators often harass employees at work, in person, or via calls and messages. They may also prevent them from attending work by injuring them, damaging work equipment, or refusing to care for children. When employees are affected by domestic violence, businesses are affected too. But when businesses act to address violence, they act to benefit. They benefit the affected employees by providing support and helping them to retain their jobs.
There are different perspectives of different people that have an opinion on what is ethical to do about this issue. The perspectives of the victim's family, which have their perspective on how the victim has suffered from whatever abuse she or he had, and how this should be solved. The co-workers, which see each day at work how the victim acts at work and have an opinion on how the company should treat this problem. And the owners of the companies, which analyze how abusive violence on an employee has affected them economically and the money they should give the employee to help him or her. In Mexico, these types of situations of violence aren't handled in a correct manner. According to the PRP 2001, a woman called Rocio Mancilla was killed by her husband just outside her workplace, and the jury only gave the husband 2 years in jail. Another case was another woman called Carolina Gaona, who is an international business specialist, was threatened to death at her work by his husband, and what the jury did was send her home. These two cases represent how unfair the jury has been with these two situations of violence at work. Also, the companies that both women worked in didn't do anything. In a global aspect, in the USA, 3 people are murdered each day at their workplace. Companies have stated that employees being a victim of violence cause for them to lose productivity and sometimes miss work, which has caused business to lose a lot of money. According to Kimberly Amadeo, 2019, domestic abuse costs USA businesses between $3 billion and $5 billion annually in lost time, productivity, and healthcare costs paid for by the employer.
It will be very important to address violence in workplace because there are so many victims that have gone through this and that go through this every day and affect their lives emotionally, physically, and mentally. And no one should go through that. Addressing this issue will give a little bit more hope to those victims and they will see that there is still good in people. The next case is about a woman who was sexually assaulted at her workplace.
I was sexually assaulted by a coworker. After that happened, many people at my work knew about it. And the reason I knew about it is because I heard rumors. And one person came up to me and directly spoke to me. Culture, 95 or maybe even more of the people that I worked with were really great people. And I know that if, they knew the impact that it was having on me, or if they had even thought of how they could speak out, how they could make this a safer work environment for the other people that were there, I know that they would have done something.
This ethical dilemma has had a great impact on the communities. For the families of the victims, they have suffered to see their loved ones get hurt. For the companies, many of them don't do anything about it, but the ones that do are affected economically because they lose money when they give it to help the victim. Lastly, the victims are affected the most because they're affected emotionally and physically, and most of the time they end up losing their job or quitting because they won't be there anymore.
What are you doing to help women who are being sexually harassed at work? Sharon had just quit a job that she'd been at for 13 years and where she had been sexually assaulted on a daily basis for being the only woman in an otherwise all-male department.